Okay, so I am here with my friend Adam Levy, and Adam and I have been working on a course down here in my studio for the last few days. If you want to be notified when we are dropping the course soon, there's an email link, sign up down below, so check that out. But I want to talk to you about this guitar, because for the last 3 days, you've been playing this beautiful 335. It sounds incredible, and I want to know more about it. I know a little bit. It's a 64, right? And it's been your guitar for a number of years.
About 20 years, yeah.
So tell us about this thing.
It's a, well, as you said, it's a 64. It's mostly original pickups. Somebody refretted it at some point, but I think that's pretty much to be expected. It was born with a Bigsby, but by the time I got it, that work had already been done, and that was fine with me. I wasn't looking for a Bigsby guitar. I had a guitar, a 335 before this one, a 79, that I got new in 79 when I was 13. That was all the guitar I ever needed. As I became a professional, I played that guitar into the first decade or so of my professional career. But I would read these stories of like, oh, you know, I have a 60s 335 or late 50s one. And so I started to think, oh, maybe there's something else there. So I started looking for these. And at that time, you know, there was no reverb.com, you know, or whatever. Like if you wanted a guitar, you had to go really look for it. So I reached out to a shop in San Francisco that I had been friendly with because I used to live in San Francisco. And I asked them if they had a 335. I was out on the road with Nora Jones at this time, still playing my old 335. But looking for some more, like a more classic 335. I reached out to the shop in San Francisco. It's called Real Guitars. They're still there. I asked them, do you have a 335? And one of the owners wrote back to me right away. He's like, hey man, we don't have one in the shop, but I have one that I'm thinking about letting go. And he sent me some really low res pictures. You know, this is 20 years ago. So, you know, some 8-bit pictures or whatever. And as soon as I saw it, that was like exactly the guitar I had imagined in my mind. And I was on tour, I was making some money, you know, so I said, oh, let's just do this. So he sent it to me, and as soon as I got it and I opened it up and looked at it, I was like, oh, love at first sight. Chris Cobb, the guy that I bought it from, told me that when he bought this guitar, the two pickups seemed inversely hot. Like this pickup was too hot, which is mostly not what you want. So he swapped them. They are the original pickups. Who's to say how it started? But when he got this guitar, say 25 years ago, it seemed out of balance to him. So he just reversed them.
So maybe at some point in its history, it got worked on and someone replaced the pickups in the wrong position or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's almost Peter Green-esque, right? You know,
Right.
Instead of flipping the neck around, they just flipped the two pickups.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Cool. Can we hear it?
Yeah, sure. So this is the neck pickup. I'll play it slightly less than wide open at first, and then I'll open it up. It's almost wide open. Now this is wide open. And then this is the bridge. I'll start again, like almost wide open. And then the middle position. And then sometimes the middle position is nice if you just roll one of the knobs back a little bit. So that's rolling the bridge out of it a little bit. Just kind of takes out a little bit of the mid-range, you know?
Yeah.
And then here's if you roll out the... So open. That's a nice sound.
It's a great sound. So you mentioned your first 335 was in 79. What drew you to the 335 as just your guitar to begin with?
It was three things, really. One is B.B. King, just looking so cool, and Larry Carlton. When I was a kid, Larry Carlton was one of the first like guitar heroes I had. And then my teacher, I told him when I was a kid that I wanted to be a studio guitar player, and I asked him, what's a good guitar for a studio player? And he said a 335 is the perfect guitar. You know, I later learned that there's probably more Telecaster on a lot of, you know, studio dates if you're just looking for like a one guitar that does everything. He's pretty much right. I think a 335 can do anything. And if you just go to the amp and roll the bass to 0, it can almost sound like a Tele or something. It sounds less fulsome than it looks if you just take the bass off. Really, it can be really useful. Got that 79 and started to play along with records, which that's what you do. There were certain things that I couldn't work out. Wait, like how is Lindsey Buckingham doing that thing on Dreams? Like I couldn't figure out how to make this, not this guitar, but my 79. But that was part of growing. It's like figuring out, okay, what is that sound? How can I chase it down with what I have?
So I'm interested to see how these two guitars compare. So this is my 335. It's a 2010 made in Memphis. I was getting to the end of my time at AIM and getting ready to graduate, and so my dad surprised me one morning, and we drove from Atlanta to Nashville. He and I spent the day driving around to all the guitar shops. We went to Gruen Guitars back when they were still on Broadway, Corner Music when it was still in 12 South, and I played probably 15 or 20 335s that day. This one, funny enough, came from the Guitar Center. Yeah, this one just connected with me. And so this was like my first sort of real guitar. And I've made some changes to it. So we redid the wiring a few years ago with, new pots and cap and everything. The pickups are, they're PAF clones from, I believe, Arcane. Put those in a number of years ago. I put nylon saddles on it, a la, Clapton. This guitar is really special to me because of where it came from my parents, and then because it's what I kind of learned how to be a musician on.
That is invaluable. When I was touring with Norah Jones in the early 2000s, at the sort of peak of the success of her first record, maybe I was still on MySpace back then.
Yeah.
And some guy on MySpace wrote to me and said, "Hey man," he said, "Man, I'll give you $25,000 for that guitar," which in whatever that was, 2003 or something, would have been a ridiculous price. Today, that would be a ridiculous price for a 79 335. But I didn't sell it, and I'm really glad I didn't sell it for all those reasons you said. Like, it's a gift from my dad, and everything I know how to play on the guitar, pretty much I learned on that guitar.
Yeah.
You can't, that's, yeah.
Say that again. What were you saying?
Just like from guitar to guitar, I think they're all different. And if I told somebody my serial number and I said, okay, money's no object, find me within 3 or 4 serial numbers of this guitar, I don't know that it would be just the same. One of my students went on a hunt for basically the closest he could get to this one, and he found one. But he had to play a lot of guitars, to find one like it.
I have to say, I think, for me, this is my favorite Gibson I've ever played.
Wow. Wow.
This is a really special one.
Oh man.
You know, I've had the opportunity, the privilege to play a lot of vintage stuff over the years, as I know you have too,
Yeah.
and a lot of really good guitars. And this is my ideal 335. Not just 335, but like when I think of the Gibson sound, this is what I want to hear. This is a really good one, man.
Yeah. Man, next time you play a show in New York, if you want to play it, you're very welcome to.
That's a great honor. I would be terrified to play it, but as long as I've been a fan of yours and heard you play and watched you play, it's like this is the Adam Levy guitar, you know?
I guess it is.
That's really special, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for playing my guitar.
Yeah.
That's really cool to hear and really
Yeah.
cool to see. We have a video course coming out in the very near future. It's a comprehensive blues guitar course. So a lot of the stuff that we were playing in today's video, the backing track we were playing over at the beginning, all that stuff is included. It's actually, I think, my favorite course that I've ever made. And we'll be dropping that real soon. Like I said, if you want to find out more about the course and when we're going to be releasing it, sign up for the email list down below. Also, subscribe to Adam's YouTube channel, and you've got some course material out yourself, and
Yeah.
you do lessons, online lessons, and things like
do.
that. So I'll have all of Adam's stuff linked in the description box down below. You're also touring quite a bit these days.
I am, yeah. I just updated my tour calendar on my page, and it was, I was like, wow, that's a lot of road.
Yeah. So I'll have Adam's website and everything linked down below. Go show him some support, and thanks, man.
Thank you.
This is
Rhett.
great.
Yeah, man. So good to be with you.